Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the City of Paterson Planning Board meeting of Monday, January 31st, 2022 at 6:30 p.m. via webinar session. This is a special meeting. Chairwoman Northrop, you may proceed.
Okay, thank you. Will everyone please rise for the flag salute? I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
For all. Thank you. Please be seated. Good evening, everybody. Okay, Commissioners, Planning Board staff, ladies and gentlemen, as Chairwoman of the City of Paterson's Planning Board, I call this meeting of, what are we here now, January 31st to order. I hereby state that all the provisions of the State of New Jersey Public Meeting Law have been fully and completely met, that the notice of provisions required have been properly posted in the Planning Board office with the City of Paterson clerk, that the public notice and advertisements have been published in the Herald News on 1/18/22 in accordance with the law, and that the copies of such notice and public advertisements are on file in the Planning Board office, as is also the agenda listing the applications to be taken up by the Planning Board at this meeting. The procedures tonight will be in accordance with the rules, regulations, and bylaws as heretofore determined by the Planning Board at its office in the municipal complex in the City of Paterson. Roll call, please.
Good evening, councilmen and commissioners. Commissioner Dean is absent. Commissioner Ahmed is absent. Commissioner Cleaves. I'm present. Thank you. Commissioner Fisher is absent. Commissioner Liranzo.
Present.
Thank you. Commissioner Santana. Present. Commissioner Roman is absent. Commissioner Zoraya.
Here.
Thank you. Commissioner Figueroa.
Present.
Councilman Kalik is absent this meeting, and Chairwoman Northrop.
Present.
You have 6 commissioners in attendance this evening. You may continue.
Okay. Notice pursuant to the Open Public Meeting Act addressing effective coronavirus measures on the next public meeting, which would be this evening, consistent with the coronavirus-related restrictions of Executive Order Number 107, given on Saturday, March 21st, 2020, by Governor Philip D. Murphy. The Planning Board of the City of Paterson will not conduct in-person participation of the public at all future meetings until further notice. However, public participation will be available by means of communication equipment pursuant to NJSA 10:4-8 commencing on April 15, 2020. Though there may potentially be a practical need for a limited number of administrative, technical, or other city personnel to be present in or near the council chambers, 3rd floor, City Hall, 155 Market Street, Paterson, New Jersey, in-person participation of the public is prohibited. Nevertheless, for reasons of compliance with the said Executive Order Number 107, public participation will be available by calling 973-321-1579, and the meeting ID number is 711-680-001. And I will repeat that later on in the evening, on the date that this meeting is scheduled to commence, which is tonight. The public may also participate in the meeting by accessing the website of the City of Paterson, www.patersonnj.gov. Tonight is a special meeting. We have Gromix Food, which is on the agenda. We only have one meeting this evening, and it's for Gromix Food. Who is representing Gromix Food?
Mr. Pena is actually the attorney of record for Gromex with respect to this application as their real estate attorney. I will be presenting the application on behalf of the applicant and the owner, Alan Maricondo.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Maricondo. Okay, so Gromix Food 162-18018. Okay, I'm going to ask everybody to please turn off the microphones, and only, because we have quite a few people on this evening, and so we don't want any confusion, okay? Please, everybody mute themselves. 162-1801. I'm sorry, 162-180, and I believe that's 18th Avenue, 182-190, 18th Avenue, 192-198, 18th Avenue, and 478-480 East 30th Street, Block 8701, lots 1, 2, 3, and 4. The combined lots contained approximately 305,271 square feet. The applicant proposes to demolish all structures on the parcels except for a portion of the one-story commercial building located on lots 1 and 2 that has approximate area of 30,000 square feet. On portions of lots 1, 2, 3, and 4, the applicant proposes to construct a 96,800 square foot industrial building with a loading dock and 10,800 square foot mezzanine to be used in the applicant's wholesale fresh and frozen food distribution business. The applicant requests variances for rear yard setback, as a minimum rear yard setback of 30 feet is required and a minimum rear yard setback of 3 feet is proposed. Maximum building height, as a maximum building height of 40 feet is permitted and a building height of 44 feet is proposed. Maximum lot coverage, as a maximum lot coverage of 60% is permitted and 91.28% is proposed. A parking variance is requested as 308 off-street parking spaces are required and 266 off-street parking spaces are provided. A minimum parking space dimension of 9 feet in width by 18 feet in length is required, and the applicant proposes a parking space dimension of 8 feet 6 inches wide by 18 feet in length. The proposal is located on the southwestern corner of 18th Avenue and East 30th Street. This proposal is within the B3 General Business District and it requires site plan approval on both variances. Mr. Deutsch, can we have your review, please?
Yes, Madam Chair. Property taxes and sewer charges are paid to date. Miguel Martinez providing an address of 1 Lee Place, Paterson, New Jersey, the sole stockholder of Gromex Foods. Copa Montalbano Architects has prepared a 4-page site plan submittal dated January 12, 2022. John Butler, surveyor, has prepared a boundary survey dated January 31st, 2019. The parcel is frontage of 490 feet on 18th Avenue, additional frontage of 635 feet on East 30th Street, and side rear lot lines measuring 467.11 feet, 127.34 feet, 413.84 feet adjacent to the New York Susquehanna Western Railroad, and 200 feet on the former vacated center line of 19th Avenue. Parcel has total square footage of 305,271 square feet or 7 acres. Survey also indicates an existing 1-story commercial building containing approximately 58,890 square feet exists on the site. The building currently contains a grocery store and 3 other commercial uses. The lot also contains a 1-story commercial building located on the southwest corner of 18th Avenue and East 30th Street, a 2-story building located on the southern side of 18th Avenue between East 28th and East 29th Street, and an outdoor canopy storage structure. These 3 structures are to be removed. The remaining parcel is paved and used for parking and unloading and loading areas. Drawing number C1 is the cover sheet and indicates the zoning map, the key map, the tax map, the drawing list, the zoning and parking tables. Drawing SP1 is the architectural site and floor plans. In addition to the aforementioned 1-story commercial building located on the southwest corner of 18th Avenue and East 30th Street, a 2-story building located on the southern side of 18th Avenue between East 28th and East 29th Street, and an outdoor canopy storage structure, the applicant also proposes to remove a portion of the existing 1-story masonry shopping mall to add additional parking. Approximately 30,000 square feet of the building is to remain. Drawing D1 is the demolition site plan and indicates the above in more detail. The parcel is frontage on 2 improved roadways, and the rear of the existing supermarket building is situated against a vacated portion of 19th Avenue, and the existing NY-S&W Railroad. A 20-foot wide existing easement to PSE&G is indicated to the south of the proposed building addition. A loading dock for deliveries to the existing supermarket will continue to be made from the vacated portion of 19th Avenue to the rear of the building. The B3 General Business District allows for commercial uses and wholesaling establishments. The applicant is advised that all storage shall occur completely within the building. On the northern half of the site, the applicant proposed a new industrial building containing first floor area of approximately 96,800 square feet with a 16-space loading dock and an office mezzanine above the loading dock of approximately 10,800 square feet. The total amount of vehicle parking proposed on the site is 266 surface parking spaces. 52 parking spaces are allocated solely to the new industrial building, and 214 parking spaces are allocated to the one-story commercial building. Visitors and employees of Gromex Foods will enter the site from 18th Avenue through a driveway that has not been dimensioned. Access into the building for public entry is identified. One handicapped parking space is identified in the 52-space parking lot. The applicant should submit revised plans with driveway and aisle dimensions. Same shall be reviewed by the city traffic engineer. Access into the loading dock area is proposed through a new, not dimensioned driveway from East 30th Street. The industrial building will contain areas for a freezer unit, a refrigerator unit, and floor product storage. A line of unidentified landscaping separates the northern industrial side use from the southern side commercial retail use. A new, not dimensioned driveway on East 30th Street is to serve customers of the retail building. 214 parking spaces, including 2 handicap parking spaces, are indicated. Approximate locations for site lighting and building lighting are indicated. Prior to the plans being resubmitted, the applicant requested variances for rear yard setback as a minimum rear yard setback of 30 feet was required and a minimum rear yard setback of 3 feet was proposed. As the parcel has 2 street frontages, the applicant has determined that 18th Avenue is the building's front property line, which utilizes the existing rear yard setback being 42 feet and 8 inches, which is more than the 30 feet of rear yard setback required and no longer requires a variance. The applicant still seeks variances for maximum building height, as a maximum building height of 40 feet is permitted and a building height of 44 feet is proposed. Maximum lot coverage, as a maximum lot coverage of 60% is permitted and 91.28% is proposed. The lot coverage variance request may be less than indicated if parking areas are removed from the calculation, as the ordinance requires only building coverage to be included in the lot coverage calculation. The applicant is requesting a parking variance. The applicant advises that the ordinance requires 308 parking spaces based upon retail space requiring 1 parking space for every 200 square feet of retail space. As the applicant is indicating a total of 266 vehicle parking spaces, a variance for 42 parking spaces is requested. Warehousing and storage uses required 1 parking space for each employee of the maximum shift, plus 1 for each vehicle used in the conduct of the enterprise. The applicant indicates that they will employ 36 employees and 16 vehicles parked in the loading dock for loading, unloading, and delivery. Minimum parking aisle width of 24 feet is required. The applicant shall advise if this is the proposed width. A minimum parking space dimension of 9 feet in width by 18 feet in length is required, and the applicant proposed a parking space dimension of 8 feet 6 inches wide by 18 feet in length, which requires a variance. Drawing A1 are the building elevations. The 18th Street elevation is the front of the building and indicates the main entrance. The rear elevation indicates the garages above the loading dock bays and the office mezzanine area above. The applicant states that hours of operations will be from 7 o'clock a.m. until 7:00 p.m. 6 days per week. Any proposed commercial identification sign shall be in accordance with 500-8 of the zoning and land development ordinance. Drainage calculations are required prior to review by the city engineer. It shall be the responsibility of the applicant and or the preparer of the plan to obtain a letter from the city engineer indicating the plans have been satisfactorily reviewed prior to the plans being released to the construction official. The applicant's attorney and architect have been supplied with a letter dated January 27, 2022 from the Passaic Valley Water Commission. The applicant shall confer with the Water Commission about the location of the existing 42-inch main water line. Surrounding land use. This proposal is located in the near east side section of the city. Although the area is zoned R2 north and east of this parcel, the immediate area has many commercial buildings, some of which are either closed or underutilized. Multi-family development becomes predominant north and east of the intersection of 18th Avenue and East 30th Street. In conclusion, the applicant estimates the cost of this proposal at approximately $6 million. That's your staff review for this proposal, Madam Chairwoman.
Thank you, Mr. Deutsch. Mr. McFarland?
Yes, thank you again, Madam Chair, and thank you for hearing us on a special meeting basis tonight. This property, I know the commissioners are very familiar with. This is the old Pathmark facility and general commercial area, which has been in existence and operating in the city of Paterson for many years. The applicant is a contract purchaser, subject, of course, to approvals, and this application, having been submitted by the owner and the applicant jointly, of course, if approved, would run with the land to the benefit of the owner if the applicant does not proceed to close and proceed to operate on the site. But that's just a simple matter of procedure in any case. So basically, we have a new business that's looking to come into the city of Paterson. That's very important. With a good number of employees on a site that we believe is ideally suited in the B3 General Business District for this type of operation. Again, Mr. Deutsch has very effectively and in great detail outlined the nature of the use and some of the follow-up work that we will be doing with your engineering department as well as his staff to complete any minor conditions that might be required should the board grant us an approval this evening. We are fully aware of the nature of the variances. Mr. Steve Coppa will be our first witness on behalf of the applicant and owner. We will also acknowledge at this time, and I know Mr. Coppa will as well, that we did receive the letter from the Passaic Valley Water Commission, and pursuant to follow-up searches and further inquiries by the Water Commission itself to determine what exactly they have and where it is in terms of a water main, we will work with them hand in hand with the city engineering department to provide an easement if it were to be needed, and if necessary, make minor adjustments to our actual site plan. So that'll be an ongoing process that we expect can be resolved. We have had other prior occasions where the Water Commission needs to do some due diligence and locate a specific area that needs to be addressed with an easement if necessary. So that being said, I'm going to call Mr. Steve Coppa as my first witness.
Thank you.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Thank you.
Please raise your right hand. I can't see you. Where are you? Oh. You swear affirm testimony about to give you the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Steve, if you would give us the benefit of your professional background licensing.
I'm a licensed architect in 3 states, New York, New Jersey, Connecticut. My firm's been in existence since 1956. I've been running it since 1984. I've appeared before many times, as many of the boards in North Jersey.
Yes, and we recognize him as an expert witness. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Coppa, you had the opportunity to hear Mr. Deutsch's report, is that correct?
Yes.
And of course, we've been familiarizing ourselves with that report, and you're fully familiar with the site plan that your firm is presenting.
Yes, I am.
If you would, give us an overview of the site and how the applicant and owner propose to modify the site and implement the new proposed use.
I'd like to screen share if I can,
Yes,
right, so here it goes. Can you all see that yet?
not yet.
No, we can't see it.
I have to do screen share first. Share, there we go. All right, now it should come up.
Okay, I don't see it.
Can you see that?
No.
Lost it for a second. Give me a second again.
Sure.
Should be right here. All right, let me go back. I gotta go open it up from our file.
Let me ask the commissioners. Commissioners, did you all receive the plans via email? I see a vet saying yes. Commissioner Lorenzo, did you get it? No. No. Okay. Then we need to see them.
Get you guys on the phone.
It should be posted for the public.
Yeah, we sent the file, zip file to IT, so your IT guy should have it also. Just set it up there and.
He may, but he cannot post it.
Give me 2 seconds, I gotta get, other guys on the phone.
This is a little crazy because everybody should have received
Yeah.
the plans.
It's the 4 pages, right? Yeah, I see that. It's in the email with the invitation for the meeting.
May I interject, Chairwoman, with your permission?
Yes, go ahead.
Mr. Deutsch, did email everyone to their laptops. So they should be there because, Mr. Lorenzo, I see it very clearly on my, my Word document that you were emailed at the city email on your laptop. You did not receive it?
Here we go. Here we
Okay.
go. It's there. Okay, let's move forward.
Thank you, Madam Chair, sorry for the delay.
Thank you. All right, there it is. Okay, so.
Yes.
The start is a third sheet.
Maybe you can, I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt, but maybe you can enlarge it a little bit because it is rather
Yeah,
minuscule.
I'm gonna show full screen, Madam Chair.
Okay.
Now, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go to the last sheet, which you don't have in your packet. Can you see that? Can you see that Google Earth shot?
Yes.
Yes,
All right, now start it. All right, so this is a Google Earth shot of the existing site. And as Mr. Maricondo was pointing out to you, 18th Ave is at the top of the page. To the right is 30th Street. And to the far left would be 28th Street. 19th Avenue was vacated years ago. And part of it is on our property and part is on the adjoining property. What you'll see from this photograph is there are 4 buildings on the site. Corner of East 30th and East 18th, industrial building. About the center of 18th Avenue, or a little to the left, another industrial building, and an L-shaped building, which was all part of Dilliston Lumber at one time. Lumber is no longer operating in the city of Paterson, has been there for many, many years. The rest of the activity around that site is some automobile and truck storage. And then the retail center is at the bottom of the sheet. And that is what was referred to by Mr. Maricondo as the old Pathfinder. That large building has an L shape to it. And I'll explain why in a few minutes. And the rest of the site was parking for the retail center. We had approximately 59,000 square feet of retail when we started this project. And we had approximately 238 cars. That was what was used. 64 of those cars were not used for the retail. That was in the spaces between the 2 industrial buildings. So for a total, the 238, we were actually only using 174 cars for the retail center. I'm going to go back now to the first sheet. Now this depicts our plan as we present it now. East 30th is to the top of the sheet. East 18th Avenue is to the left. The existing shopping mall and what I referred to as an L shape, 9,000 square feet of that 59 has been removed. Now the retail center of what will remain is only 50,000 square feet. The gray area to the left is the new building we proposed for Gromex. So it would extend along 18th Avenue for a little bit of time, and then it will open up to a parking area, which has 52 total parking spaces. In excess of what we need, based on the configuration of the building, we tried to maximize the parking on site. And there are 16 truck loading and unloading areas under cover. They're not exposed to the outside. There are doors to close them in. They will go out onto 30th Avenue, 30th Street, ingress and egress. As Mr. Deutsch pointed out, that is not mentioned, but it will be at least 30 feet wide. The rest of the site is the retail parking, which is shown as 214 spaces. Approximately the same number of spaces we had prior to this development for the retail. So we find that this arrangement has actually benefited us in that the food store and the retail centers really go from East 30th, which is mostly retail, and then the food store is going down the site where the majority of the parking shows. There seems existing loading and unloading docks along 19th Avenue. As I said, that's been vacated. We then received approximately 17 feet of the 35 foot that was there. Gromex is, as Mr. Maricondo stated, an ethnic food distributor, and they will bring food into the new facility, disseminate it into smaller packages, and deliver to their customers in and around the area. They're presently located in the city of Passaic. They would like to make a move for their betterment. The city of Paterson, with it will come an improvement to the site, significant improvement to the site, and also to the job market in the area. I think that covers pretty much what we talked about. We wanted to state, though, as per Mr. Deutsch's report, we do have 266 car spaces, but we also have 16 truck spaces. So the total parking on site, when you include the truck parking, is 282 cars and trucks. I know that the requirement for 308 is is done by strict calculation. That's a formality based on your ordinance. We believe this is a betterment to the site and it's more efficient. It certainly will clean it up. I'll go to the elevations to show you what we have intended. This is just a demolition plan showing that 4 of the buildings that exist are now going to be demolished and the new building constructed. There's room in this logo, making this move, and I believe they're very anxious to do it. We had some meetings with them to understand their business. We're certainly happy to see them come to this site. We're going to do as much as we can to give the building some interest. It's not a rectangle. We've broken it into areas. We're varying the materials. We're proposing a green wall, which we think we can do in and around the front of the building as it looks for 18th Street and also a piece of it on 30th Street. We vary the material between masonry, and I think the masonry will have the colors that we show, very durable materials, but yet soft, trying to add as much of a, let's call it an urban touch to this new building, and will be compatible with the food store to the rear of it, which is also an ethnic grocer, but not in the manufacturing that this firm is. The building is required at 40 feet because they have high bay storage for foodstuffs. We believe that's appropriate given the industrial area that we're moving into now. The owner has asked us to depict it that way, and that's why we requested variance. The 40 foot is for the high bay storage, and the other 4 feet is structure to support the building and roof. Of course, that's necessary. And there's a 10,000 square foot office, which is located over the, I'll call it the loading area for the trucks. And that's where their operational office will be. Certainly understand that there's some question about a water main. It did not come to us until recently. We spoke to the State Valley Water Commission briefly about it. They don't quite know what it is, other than it's shown as a 42-inch water main that goes back to the 1800s. When the railroad came into play, maybe it was stopped, maybe not. 29th runs on the other side of the railroad also. As Mr. Mariconda has stated, we will work with the State Valley Water Commission. We know them very well. We're going to find out what maps they have and then make a determination of where, if and where this pipe exists. Then show it on a map. We don't know what it is and what it does. In any event, worst case, these require usually a 30-foot easement, which would divide between our property and the adjoining properties. We're already 10 foot off of that line. There's a good chance we might not have to make any modification to the building, but if it is, it'd be very, very slight. But we'll do the research, work with them, work to Mr. Margron, what we found, and then of course finish all the site details that required from Fred's review, and then of course I have nothing more to say, Mr. Mariconda. Receive questions if there are.
Steve, I'd just like for you to follow up briefly on one point that you addressed with regard to ingress and egress and driveway design. You're comfortable that you can comply in all respects with all local and state codes as to proper ingress and egress with those driveway dimensions?
Yes. In fact, the one on East 30th Street, Mr. Mariconda, that services the existing shopping area.
Yes.
It's in existence. We haven't modified that. To the rear of the shopping area, there is a service area, a service roadway, something that was created by the creation of 19th Ave, but also it's in existence now. We're not making any changes there. The ingress and egress for the new building is accommodated from East 30th. That dimension will meet Fred's requirements. We will show turning radiuses for those trucks, both ingress and egress. There's no maneuvering on 30th Street for the trucks. It's all internal. Everything comes into the site, is received at the site, unloaded or loaded, and then leave. There's no traffic on East 30th Street for loading and unloading. And then, of course, the car parking is primarily for employees, visitors, and as I said, we have more than we need. We really only require about 30-some spaces. Since the site was available, we built it, built it out so that there will be expansion potentially if possible.
Okay, very good. Madam Chair, that would conclude, Mr. Copper's direct testimony. Of course, he's available for any questions.
How many other witnesses do you have?
I would anticipate calling, just the applicant or his representative to ratify Mr. Copper's testimony. That's it.
Okay, then I'm gonna open it up at this time. Just gather my thoughts here, 1 second. I'm just gonna open it up at this time to, the public first. Okay, so if there's anyone in the public that has any questions of Mr. Coppa, please call in, on, 973-321-1579, and the meeting ID is 711-680-001. I'm gonna, while we're waiting, I'm gonna ask, Madam Secretary, do we have any callers at this, right now?
I'm waiting for a response. You may continue.
Yeah, now let me continue with our commissioners. Commissioners, you can take down the plans. Let me look at my commissioners. Commissioners, any questions of Mr. Coppa regarding the architectural plans for this, application? Commissioners? Okay, I see Commissioner Cleves waving her hand. Commissioner Cleves, please go ahead.
I'm just trying to wrap my head, I know the location, I'm trying to actually wrap my head around it. So the structure is going to go from East 28th Street to East 30th Street?
Yes, that's correct.
Are you you're not getting rid of the shopping strip mall there, are you?
No, that will remain. That goes to the backside of the East 30th Street elevation. Yes, that will remain. We're taking 9,000 square feet of retail off of it. Shape.
I'm sorry, Maggie, can you mute yourself, please?
Apologize.
The shopping center will stay primarily intact, but it was 59,000 square feet. We've now reduced it to 50,000 by removing that small little L piece. That was done for a number of reasons. One, we wanted to accommodate flow of parking that benefited the retail that is remaining, and the owner made that decision. It was an economic decision on his part, but it benefited the site significantly. Now, most of the parking now is contiguous and directly around the food establishment where the majority of the parking occurs. So it worked out very nicely for us.
So the stores that are on the small L piece
Yes,
will no longer be there?
they're not going to be with us anymore.
That's
The
interesting.
retail on the other side stays. There's some retail stores on the 30th Street side, and they remain. But they're there now. They exist now. They're tenants and they'll remain tenants.
Interesting. Okay,
Thank you.
are you, I'm sorry, are you offering them any type of, space?
Not in this location, no. No. But the other retail will stay and so will the food establishment. The majority of it.
I think we are offering them there's some open space at the other end. Stores with no leases, and we might be very happy to want to.
Tony, you're not sworn in yet.
Yeah, he has to be sworn, Madam Chair. Okay, I'm sorry.
Okay,
We'll get to him on, Commissioner, please, hold there.
I'll wait,
Okay, hold that.
That would be the owner who was speaking. We can have him sworn when you're ready, Madam Chair.
Okay, I will, I see Commissioner Figueroa has a question. Go ahead, Commissioner Figueroa, please.
Thank you. I wanted to ask about the handicap accessibility and the parking within the variance that is being requested and the spaces that are being allotted. Also, secondary is the exterior security and lighting for this project. And lastly, any green design elements. I don't know if you spoke and maybe you'll give a little bit more information with a project this, this size, if there's anything going into it.
Certainly. We don't need to ask for a variance for the number of handicap spaces to accommodate whatever the ordinance requires. The only variance had to do with the actual size of the space. Instead of a 9 by 18, we went to an 8 by 8.6, 8.5. It's usually a waiver, and we've done it many times before. So as far as that, accessibility will meet all code requirements. And your engineer is very good at picking things up like that. He'll hold us to the rule. I had the speech option, you saw some greenery. The green wall is one of the things that we're thinking of. It's basically a living wall. It has a plant growth, it climbs. There's a structure like a trellis that is applied to the wall. And we're going to try and make that work here. We think we can. It'll add a buffer to the hard materials, the masonry and metal panel or whatever we use. And then we also looked at a division strip between the existing, I'll call it the shopping center, and now Gromex. And that will be a line of trees that we plant, arborvitae or something very hardy that grow tall and green and add a touch of what you just said, some landscaping. I will also fed about the possibility of shade tree. I don't know if the city of Paterson still has that program, but I did quite a bit of work on Market and Maine. And in those days we did. This business 42 years, so I know the city pretty well. And we did have a program at that time, and if that's available, we will do it. We'll work with him to get it done. The lighting will all be down lighting. Anything from the building will not shine into adjoining properties. It'll be good for safety, security, especially pedestrians. They'll be able to walk around this entire building. And we consider it really a backdrop. And if it's green and it has some color and it livens it up, I certainly think it'll be a benefit to what we see now. And that's not a detraction from what happened in the past. It's an improvement that we'd like to see, and also to bring this great company in. And they want to be here. They want to come to the city of Paterson. So to us, it's really important to give them the building and to counsel the building they like.
Steve, if I could follow up on the commissioner's question, and so this downlighting, security lighting that you referred to would be set forth on any final construction plans if there were to be a motion for approval?
Yes, we'll work it out with Fred. We'll give him Icelux patterns. That'll be on the 30th and 18th Street sides. The parking lot, of course, for the shopping center, it exists now, and we'll embellish it. Everyone's installing LEDs now, those will be area light, but they will not cast any light off of them.
Right, but that of course would be a condition of approval as well. And
Yeah.
in reference to Commissioner Figueroa's question about handicap space, and you indicated we have more than enough space to be in full compliance. Could you give us, or perhaps give the commissioner an idea of, how, do you have an idea of how many spaces would have to be designated at this time, or do you, if you do?
Yeah, I think it's 2%, 3%, Mike can correct me, but whatever it be, we'll provide it.
Okay,
It's a space difference in size and, of course, area for in and out of ingress, egress.
Commissioner Figueroa, does that answer your questions?
Wonderfully. I like the idea of the green wall.
yeah.
I really do. I've seen something like that in Newark on one of the buildings driving in, and it's really nice.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I just have a quick question about the security. Are you planning on putting security cameras up?
I would assume that the owner would do that. Yes,
Okay.
for not only for their benefit, but for everyone's protection. I don't know if we're doing a project right now, whether it's a school, hospital, prison, prisons. But they all require security cameras and recording devices that we can capture.
All right, good. So before I go on any further with my questions, I'm going to open it up to the commissioners again. Okay, commissioners, any other questions of this particular, Mr. Kaba? Okay, I don't hear any. Okay, we have no call-ins, Madam Secretary?
We have no callers at this time.
Alright, so now I'm just going to, I wanna, see if we can swear in, Mr. LaConte. Mr. Malaconda?
Yes, I believe he's with us.
Swear affirm the testimony about to give you the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
So your full name for the record?
Anthony Loconte.
Okay, Mr. LaConte, you are the principal of the LLCs that own this property, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, and I know you wanted to interject a comment on one of the questions that came through, but before you do that, are you in full agreement with all the testimony that's been offered on behalf of this application so far?
I am.
Okay, and you would agree to the conditions that have been discussed regarding security, lighting, greenery, and handicapped spaces?
I do.
Okay, good. Did you want to discuss one point that you raised earlier?
Yes, I basically wanted to say two things. I think that this one particular project is actually something that'll be good for people of Paterson. While people are building houses everywhere, this is actually going to bring jobs to the city. So I think that that's like an important thing. So I just want to make that a point that I think that more than housing, you need jobs. People need jobs. So I think this is going to bring good stuff to the city. Paterson has a great workforce, and I think this is going to play right into it. And I think that part of the reason that Gomex wants to be there is because of the fact that Paterson has a workforce, and I think that anyway, I just want to express the point that I think bringing jobs into Paterson is really important.
Okay.
And to answer the commissioner's question is there's 3 tenants on the L-shaped building. One has no lease, the other 2 have a lease with a demolition clause. But with that said, we're trying to place them on the opposite end of where the supermarket is. There's a dry cleaner, and there's a T-Mobile store, and there's a hair salon. She does a nice job, but she's really not, it's not really working for her. So we're trying to work with the tenants to, keep them in there. I think maybe 1 or 2 of them would like to be there, and we're trying to work with them to keep them in the center. So that's the status on the piece that's coming down.
Okay, great, thank you.
Commissioner Cleese, does that answer your question?
Madam Chair?
Yeah.
Yes.
One second, please. Wait, Commissioner Cleese, does that answer your question?
That takes care of the one, that's on the long L shape, but the shorter L shape, you have a dollar store, and you have a dollar store and a beauty, store.
Right.
Are those the 2 that you're working with?
Yes, that's what we're working with.
They have been there quite a long time, and they service this community. I don't live too far from this location, so I frequent them quite often, and I just want to make sure that even though I think this is a great project, and anytime we can offer employment to the residents of the city of Paterson that they can get to in walking distance or public transportation is also a great idea. But I don't want small businesses to lose out on the opportunity to now grow their business because something that's growing around them benefits them.
Right. Now we're very conscious. I've been there for the last 15 years, and they've been good tenants, and we're working with them to try to either locate them within the center or in some cases even take them to different locations. So, but your point is well taken because there is people that depend on them stores being there. Maybe 2 of them sort of conflict with each other. They're a little bit similar. But 100% correct. So we are working with them to maybe not give them as big of a space that they want, but give them maybe a little bit smaller, but try to work with them and accommodating them. So that's something we're already working with.
Thank you, and that's good to know.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner. I'm gonna open, I think I heard Mr. Aquaviva calling me before.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Mr. LaConte, I'm just trying to figure out, we have 3 owners of record of the individual, I guess, different lots on this property. Which owner are you testifying on behalf of?
Anthony LaConte?
Right.
On behalf of, he's appearing on behalf of all 3 ownership entities, Mr. Aquilino.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, that's my question.
Yep.
Okay, I just have a quick question. Should this go out for a vote and it's in the affirmative, would there be a, would we have to say that we want them to come back with their plans for the driveway and so forth and so on, the things that have not been, it's conditioned on that?
I defer to Mr. Deutsch on that, Madam Chair.
We would hope that we could work with Mr. Margron directly, because we don't think there are difficult obstacles there, but I'll also defer to Mr. Deutsch.
I'll send revised plans once I receive them to the city traffic engineer and await his comments and report back to the board.
Okay, so there would not be a condition, it would just happen. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay. All right, anyway, at this time then I'm going to ask commissioners, any other questions? Commissioners, last time, any other questions? Okay, then Mr. Mariconda, do you have any other witnesses?
I just wanted to indicate that Mr. Pena is here on behalf of Romax as their general counsel in connection with this project. So, Mr. Pena, if you want to offer any other comments, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Madam Chairperson, Commissioners, good evening.
Good evening.
I've represented Gromex, which is Gromex Inc. actually, and their locations at 43 First Street in Passaic. I've represented them for well over a decade now, starting off with representation of obtaining property in Passaic. They've been a outstanding partner with the city of Passaic for a very long time now, and fortunately for them, their business has grown by leaps and bounds, necessitating an expansion. While they intend on keeping their location in Passaic, that's becoming mainly a cash and carry situation, whereas the project in Paterson is going to be something which is mainly distribution. Mr. Miguel Martinez, who is the president of Gromex, started off himself, if I may say, as a truck driver, delivering food products, and has now grown this business by, like I said, leaps and bounds. He will be hopefully constructing this distribution center, which is going to serve the East Coast from Massachusetts down to Delaware and includes Pennsylvania. So mainly it's going to get distribution in and out. One of the things that I can say about Gromex is that they are neighbor friendly. They've done very well in Passaic, and by looking at the structure which they're intending on building here, you can see not only by the green wall for aesthetic purposes, but also when we look at 16 bays for trucks. Now, that essentially we could use the word as overkill. The reason being is that we will never have 16 trucks there at one time. My client has thought forward, and in being a good neighbor, does not want to have a situation where any trucks are ever going to be on the street. So the way it's proposed is any truck that ever comes will have a spot to go to because there is an abundance of docks. So that's the way my client thinks. So this project is good for Gromex, it's good for the site that we presently have, and it's going to be good for Paterson also. Thank you.
Well, we certainly appreciate your comments. Thank you very much. So again, commissioners, any last questions? Okay, I'm hearing none. So Mr. Mariconda, would you like to summarize, please?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. And again, we thank you for an expedited special meeting hearing tonight. We think this is a very big opportunity to attract a new business, a growing business, which will generate income and, of course, employment within the city of Paterson, as Mr. Pena described accurately, I believe. This site will undergo some modifications, but as you can hear from our professional testimony as well as our applicant and owner testimony. It's a site where the applicant is going to take a very strict awareness of maintaining the quality of business space in the area, upgrading the structures, and along with the major improvements that are taking place, so as to preserve this as a very viable business center, if you will, for the city of Paterson within the B3 General Business District. And we would accept all conditions that were discussed on the record, and we would ask the board to consider a motion for approval on that basis. Thank you.
Thank you. Would any commissioner like to make a motion on this application? Commissioner Lorenzo?
Yes, I wanna make a motion, but I need our secretary to read it for me, please. I don't have the actual paper with me.
Okay, no worries.
I will. Give me 1 second, please.
I'm assuming this is a motion to approve?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, Commissioner Iranzo, first motion on the application of Romex Foods at the address located at 162, 180 18th Avenue, 182, 190 18th Avenue, 192-198 18th Avenue, and 478, 480 East 30th Street, Block 8701, lots 1, 2, 3, and 4. He moves that the board attorney prepare a resolution granting site plan approval and bulk variances.
City engineer, city traffic engineer, HEP Sewer Conservation, State Valley Board of Commission.
I understand that. I just wanted to just read in the record that this is for, to be approved, to combine the lots approximately 305,200 square feet, proposes to demolish all structures and parcels except for a portion of one-story commercial building located on lots 1 and 2 that has appropriate area of 30,000 square feet. On portions of lots 1, 2, 3, and 4, the applicant proposes to construct a 96,800 square foot industrial building with a loading dock and 10,800 feet of mezzanine to be used in the applicant's wholesale fresh and frozen food distribution business. He so moves with the planning board approval, Hudson Essex Passaic Soil Conservation District approval, city engineer, Passaic County Planning Board, and Paterson Historic Preservation. If needed, I said, because it's in the wording, so I didn't want to change anything. With the conditions as stated, to be considered at the board's earliest convenience. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Figueroa.
Roll call.
Commissioners, Commissioner Cleaves,
Yes.
Commissioner Iranzo,
Yes.
Commissioner Santana.
Yes.
Thank you. Commissioner Zoraya,
Yes.
Commissioner Figueroa,
Yes.
and Chairwoman Northrup. You have 6 votes in the
Yes.
affirmative. This application has been granted.
And congratulations to you folks. We're happy to have you come to town.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Now, folks, don't leave yet, commissioners, the others can, commissioners stay. We have a few resolutions that have to be done this evening. So whenever you're ready, Mr. Acquaviva.
Yep, give me 1 minute. Okay. Whenever you're ready, Madam Chair.
I'm ready. Maggie, you ready? Okay, we're all good to go.
Okay. On the application, excuse me, of MAFHH LLC for the property located at 266-268 Governor Street, Block 3502, lots 9 and 10. The property being located in the RA2 district of the 4th Ward redevelopment plan. The applicant is seeking site plan approval on both variances on combined lots having an area of 2,792 square feet The applicant proposes to construct a 5-unit residential building on the site consisting of 3 stories. The board considered and approved this matter. It's November 15, 2021 motion. Meeting, do I have a motion?
The following commissioners can vote, which would be Commissioner Iranzo, Commissioner Santana, or Commissioner Figueroa. So move. Commissioner Santana,
I second.
second by Commissioner Iranzo. Am I correct, Chairwoman?
You did.
Yes, thank you. Commissioners, Commissioner Iranzo,
I'm
excuse me.
sorry, I made the motion, I didn't hear who made the second.
the second was Iranzo.
Okay, now,
He was
yes.
also with Yvette, but I heard him first.
Okay.
Thank you. I will call the commissioners. Your vote, Commissioner Iranzo,
Yes.
Commissioner Santana. Yes. And Commissioner Figueroa.
Yes.
This resolution has been granted. You may proceed.
Okay, on the application of MAFHH LLC for the property located at 327 Hamilton Avenue, Block 3507, Lot 33. The property being located in the RA2 district of the 4th Ward redevelopment plan. The applicant is seeking site plan approval of both variances on the 2,500 square foot vacant lot to construct a new 3-story residential building with a total of 6 units. The board considered and approved this matter at its November 15th, 2021 regular meeting. Do I have a motion?
So moved. Second?
Excuse me, before we call the vote, for each resolution, I will call them out because, only the same 3 commissioners can vote on this on this resolution.
Alright,
Commissioner Iranzo, Santana, and Figueroa.
so who's the second? I saw Commissioner Figueroa raise her hand, so she'll be second.
Amalinda must hear it on the record, please.
Yeah.
Say it.
Second.
You first a motion, Commissioner Figueroa. You need a second.
Second.
I made the motion.
Chairwoman, you were not present,
I wasn't present at that?
ma'am. No, you were not.
Okay, so then I introduce the motion.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And Commissioner Iranzo, you are second, sir?
Yes.
Correct, thank you. So the vote, commissioners, Commissioner Iranzo,
Yes.
Commissioner Santana. Yes. And Commissioner Figueroa.
Yes.
This resolution has been adopted. May proceed.
Okay, on the application of MAFHH LLC for the property located at 117-121 Hamilton Avenue, Block 3616, Lot 8. The property being located in the RA2 district of the 4th Ward redevelopment plan. The applicant was seeking site plan approval and bulk variances to remove the existing 1-story commercial building on the parcel and construct a 3-story 10-unit residential building on the 4,900 square foot lot. The board considered and approved this matter at its November 15th, 2021 regular meeting. Do I have a motion?
The commissioners that can vote on this application are Commissioner Iranzo and Commissioner Figueroa.
So move.
Second.
Chairwoman, may I proceed with the vote? Okay, commissioners, Commissioner Iranzo
Yes.
and Commissioner Figueroa.
Yes.
This resolution has been granted. You may proceed.
On the application of George Chernowski for the property located at 70-72 Front Street, Block 1414, Lot 7. The property being located in the R3 high medium density residential zone. The applicant was seeking site plan approval on both variances to subdivide the existing 10,862 square foot parcel into 2 lots. One proposed lot is to contain the existing 1-family dwelling on a 5,926 square foot lot. The other proposed lot is to contain a new 2-family dwelling with 2 bedrooms in each unit on a 4,936 square foot lot. The board considered this matter at its December 1, 2021 regular meeting. Madam Chair, we need a vote on the subdivision and on the site plan of both variances. Madam Secretary?
Okay, the 3 commissioners can vote. Actually, no, I apologize, Chairwoman Northrop can vote. Commissioner Iranzo, Commissioner Santana, and Commissioner Figueroa can make a motion on this division first.
So moved
Second.
by Commissioner Santana. Roll call.
Thank you. Commissioners, Commissioner Liranzo,
Yes.
Commissioner Santana. Yes. Commissioner Figueroa,
Yes.
and Chairwoman Northrop.
Yes.
This resolution has been adopted for subdivision. Now we'll go to the following. You can proceed, Mr. Aquaviva. This is for site plan and bulk variances.
Correct, Madam Secretary, thank you.
Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Thank you.
Second.
Second. Second by Commissioner Liranzo. Commissioners, Commissioner Liranzo,
Yes.
Commissioner Santana. Yes. Commissioner Figueroa,
Yes.
and Chairwoman Northrop.
Yes.
This resolution has been adopted for site plan and bulk variances. You may proceed, Mr. Aquaviva.
Okay, on the application of JCM Investors 1012 LLC, for the property located in the RE2 zone of the fourth redevelopment plan. The applicant was seeking site plan approval on bulk variances on a vacant lot and proposes to construct a new 3-story residential building with a total of 3 units. The board considered and approved this matter at its December 1, 2021 regular meeting. Do I have a motion?
So, who can vote on it, Maggie?
Yes, the same four.
Okay, so moved.
Commissioner Northrop, Chairwoman Northrop is the first. Have a second.
Second.
Commissioner Iranzo seconded the motion. Commissioners, Commissioner Iranzo,
Yes.
Commissioner Santana. Yes. Commissioner Figueroa,
Yes.
and Chairwoman Northrop.
Yes.
This resolution has been adopted. Thank you very much, Commissioners.
Okay, so I think that concludes our business for this evening. Am I correct, Mr. Deutsch?
That is correct.
And our next meeting is just a day or 2 away.
Oh my God.
Wednesday, February 2nd, yes.
Okay, so everyone have a good night, what's left of it, and I'll see everybody then.
Thank you.
Wonderful.
Good night.
Good night.
Evening, everyone.
Okay, close the meeting, all aye. Aye, aye. Okay.
Bye.
Good night. Good night.
Thanks.